Say, no jail time, probation. That's just so stupid. We did this to ourselves.
A WWL Louisiana investigation finds failures in the probation and justice system leading up to yesterday's deadly quadruple shooting in the French Quarter. Good evening and thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. We begin tonight with the investigative story that we broke at noon about the mass shooting in the French Quarter that killed a woman. The man booked in that case slipped through a number of opportunities to keep him in jail.
As investigative reporter Mike Pearlstein revealed, 28-year-old Nicholas Miorana kept getting breaks all the way up until yesterday afternoon's shocking ambush shooting. Mike, what happened here?
Well, Katie and Sharice, court records show us a lot, starting with Miorana's 7 years in prison for armed robbery, only to be followed by more violent arrests. Now, despite a warning, repeated warnings and red flags, he remained free until he was arrested yesterday for murder. As a convicted armed robber coming off a 7-year prison sentence, Nicholas Miorana was known to police and prosecutors. And after he was arrested in January on domestic abuse battery and gun charges, the warning flags of trouble grew increasingly obvious.
You have one a day, every day, from basically October the 8th on. You changed his conditions, you made it easier, and he got worse. And that wasn't enough of a sign?
Matt Dennis put Miorana on a court-ordered ankle monitor as a condition of his probation after he pled guilty in that January case. These dozens of violations by Miorana of his home incarceration orders were not the only examples of leniency given to this convicted felon.
His possession of a firearm is sufficient evidence for a prosecutor to send this person to the penitentiary for years.
Instead, Miorana was allowed to plead guilty to attempted possession, allowing him to be released on probation. That was just the beginning. His probation officer filed a revocation motion to send him to prison. He got arrested again in September on new domestic violence charges, but court records show that instead of putting Miorana in jail, Judge Leon Roche actually loosened his house arrest. From October until this week, Judge Roche received violation reports nearly every day.
This is not a problem with ankle monitoring. This is a problem with the judicial response to the violation. And when there's a violation, that person needs to be put back in custody and kept in custody because they've shown they're not willing to follow the terms and conditions of that court order.
The probation officer tells the tale. Then he comes over to us, and we repeat the tale. What more did it take? Unfortunately, we have a dead person.
Neither the district attorney's office or the judge did their duty, and that those failures put into motion the chain of events that resulted in the mass shooting in the French Quarter.
Now, the latest we have from the NOPD is that detectives have identified the other two gunmen and are actively chasing tips to secure their arrest. Katie and Sharice?
Well, hopefully that happens soon, Mike. Thank you so much. Well, today the French Quarter was relatively calm after yesterday's quadruple shooting near Iberville and Royal. Now, the shooting happened in front of Dickie Brennan's Steakhouse, which remained closed today over the lunch hour. Shots shattered several windows at the restaurant and left a bullet hole near the front door. There were flowers on the sidewalk near where a 27-year-old woman was killed. Like today, there were locals and visitors walking up and down the streets when shots rang out yesterday. Bob and Ryan Kerr, a father and son from San Francisco, had just passed by the scene before the shooting started.
Everybody was rushing in through the door over there, and cars were backing up and kind of, hitting each other to get out of the way. It was unfortunate, but we assumed someone had got shot.
If we had to stepped inside Felix's, as they say, we could have been in the line of fire. Yeah, that's what our line of thoughts, yes.
Well, luckily they were not. This afternoon, NOPD Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick confirmed all 4 shooting victims, including the one who died, are locals. We will have continuing coverage as the NOPD searches for the 2 suspects. You can look for the latest updates on our website, our free smartphone app, as well as our social media pages.
Now, after the shootings at last Sunday's second line, today the NOPD partnered with the